off a daily fantasy. His number too high, then I'm probably fading him. He been on the road, he gon' eat up my salary. I hit up, he gon' lie before lock. Play back to back, then I probably won't pick on the DFS bachelor, good as it gets. Bit a few liners and hit me a leg. He had a good game, but it might be a trick. Log in the Slack so I know who to pick. Sharing our liners, we all gon' get rich. New to this game, you should come to the pad. You might want some cash and get a good laugh. DFS sports, we gon' run up a bag. He heard every game and it's making me mad. You buying your lineups, I think you a cheater. DFS bachelor, he the new leader. Yeah.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to The Bachelor Pad. I, of course, am your host, the DFS Bachelor, and we're going to go over our Fanduel and Draftkings NBA slate for Wednesday, September 2nd. I got to get my days straight. It's another two-game slate, and look, there's going to be a lot of these, so there may be some times where I skip one of these videos and these two-game slates. They can be redundant. I totally understand that, but we're going to go ahead and throw out a video today. We had a great night tonight. Absolutely smashed tonight. Basically, fading Murray and Mitchell worked out beautifully for me, and my DraftKings lineups just went so close to a big takedown, but a good night. I hope you all had a great night as well. First things first, thank you for all your support. A big cheers to you all. Ooh, that's interesting. Oh, that's right, I have it on the green screen. Says I really do appreciate, I gotta see that one more time. The clear can, I like it. I really do appreciate all your support. The kind words, watching the show, the kind comments, etc. Liking the video is so important for the channel. I didn't know that before, and you guys just do that in droves. So thank you all so much. If you are new to the channel, welcome to the team. Be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Get access to all of our content. Dion's in the midst of a move. That's why we haven't had some WNBA content out. Have a special little thing from Lisa Leslie the next time we do a show, which is pretty exciting for WNBA. I can't wait to put that out there. And so once he's settled in and things are back to normal for him here in the next day or so, we'll be back finishing out the WNBA season and the playoffs as well. Of course, NFL is right around the corner. Not only will I be doing everything NFL DFS that we've always done here, all the Thursday night, Monday nights, main slates, etc., but I'm also, you can see the beautiful backdrop behind me here, going to be at Sportsbook Review at SBR. You can find us over there on YouTube, sportsbookreview.com, etc. Tons of great stuff. We're going to be handicapping NFL games. I will be live Sunday mornings, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, an hour before kickoff every Sunday, answering any questions you might have. We've been breaking everything down division by division. And tomorrow afternoon, 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern, we will be live breaking down the AFC South. It's our second to last division, only one more division after that, and we get to the live betting next week. So lots of ways you can find me, lots of content. I appreciate all that. Also, don't forget to check out Overlay DFS as well, man. Having a ton of fun over there. It's a great sweat. Not a ton of people over there, so there's a nice window to win some money. I've had a great month over there, Overlay DFS. Go to overlaydfs.com, hit them up at Overlay DFS on Twitter. Ask them about their first deposit bonus, their slump buster bonus. Who couldn't use a slump buster? Slump buster is just the title of my sex tape, because that's pretty much every time that happens for me, it's breaking a slump. I'll tell you what, being a single dad, almost 40, that's the kind of shit that happens. So be sure to check all of that out. And also, don't forget, if you want access, even on days I forget videos, like today, the projections and the player pool was on point. If you want the player pool, the projections, all the research tools is what I prefer is the research tools. I don't care about optimizers all that much. What I like is I can find a player's usage, his history against his team. When I'm playing baseball, I can find BVP, just everything. There's all these research tools that help me make a better decision. Defense versus position, pace of the teams, home away, injury history, just everything that I'm looking for. Price on both sites. You can get access to this tool as well as my player pool by clicking that link in the video description below. You can try Draft Dashboard for 30 days for $1. I'll have that for NFL as well. And right now, for you fantasy football players, if you have yet to draft, which means you're smart, because drafting before today is just so stupid. I don't understand it. I'm not drafting until after the cuts this Saturday. Saturday evenings when I'm drafting, because you got to wait for the rosters to get cut down in the NFL. I mean, it's just common sense. Come on, people. Click that link, try it for 30 days for $1. I also have a fantasy football league season-long kit posted up here on Draft Dashboard. From the homepage, I rank the top 40 running backs, top 40 wide receivers, top 20 quarterbacks, 15 tight ends, 135 ranked players there to help you with your season-long fantasy football draft. So let's get into it. 2-game slate, and just like I said tonight, leave money on the table, do something different. My strategy was to fade Mitchell and Murray. It worked out great. It was contrarian. They were super high owned. So that's what I did, and it worked out. That's it. If you, like I said, if you're going to use all of your salary, you can almost guarantee that someone's going to tie with you, especially if you're playing in one of those mass GPP type tournaments. Now, if you're playing a higher dollar single entry or 50-50 cash games, 5-man cash games, 10-man cash games, sure, you can use all your salary. But if you're trying to differentiate yourself and not tie with everyone at the top, leaving salary on the table is the way to go. So you got Russell Westbrook, 8,800 on Fanduel, 8,900 on DraftKings. He's even announced himself he's on a minutes limit. I'll tell you this. I don't have a ton of interest in him. I don't think he hits value. But in a raw point scenario, point guard's pretty thin, especially if Bledsoe's out. You got Westbrook, Paul, Dragic. Then you're down to George Hill, Kendrick Nunn, fucking Dante DiVincenzo, Austin Rivers. I mean, it's ugly. So if you want to do a raw point sort of scenario, I don't hate it. He's also going to be very low owned, especially for players 8K and above. He'll probably be the lowest owned player on the slate. So if you want to take a tournament chance on it, sure. Just depends on your risk tolerance there. Chris Paul, 8-2 on FanDuel and on DraftKings. Now, here's what we got tomorrow. We got a Game 7, and we talked about it in last night's video. I thought the scoring in Denver, Utah would come down a lot because it's Game 7, and it did. Game 7s, you get that lemon booty. They're a little more nervous. There's a lot on the line. And then you've got 3 big-time players who have all proven to choke in big games like this. Now, Chris Paul came up huge in Game 6, which is a must-win, so you got to give him some credit for that. But Westbrook loses in big games, comes up small. Chris Paul historically has never even made a conference final. James Harden, I mean, we've watched his 2 for fucking 75 shooting efforts, right? So we know that sort of thing can happen. I mean, the only other player who I can think of who's worse in the playoffs, and we're talking about a guy like Paul George, and they're all, it's ugly. Chris Paul, they need Chris Paul. He's going to have to play a huge game. He's got a chip on his shoulder against Houston and James Harden. I like him. I like Dragic, of course. Then you've got Bledsoe. Now, Dragic is a little bit priced up. I'm going to say that. That's a big price for him. But now that he's in the starting lineup, this is the kind of upside he has. You can see four out of his last 5 games overall, including game 1 of the series. And I talked about this in round 1. Miami is going to be a problem for Milwaukee. Miami can shoot the 3, and Milwaukee is the worst team in the league giving up the 3. And they have Bam Adebayo, who is, look, no one is perfect to defend Giannis, but if you had to choose one guy, maybe besides Kawhi Leonard, who's still a little bit smaller, we kind of saw what he did to him last year, Bam Adebayo is he's the perfect type of player to give Giannis fits. So this is going to be a tough series this is not going to be, or like the Orlando series where Orlando wins game 1 and Milwaukee blitzes through them. That's not going to happen. Miami could easily go up to, if Miami's hitting their 3s tomorrow, which Milwaukee struggles to defend against, Miami can go up 2-0 tomorrow. I'm not bullshitting. But I like Dragic. He's going to be very popular because there's not a ton of options. 6'8" and 6'9's a lot, but 4 of his last 5 over 35. Now that he's in the starting lineup, sure. And if Bledsoe misses again tomorrow, it just makes it easier defensively. Like, Bledsoe's a good defender. George Hill's older and slower. Then you're getting he can't help himself. No matter what, Budenholzer still, even when his team, it's clear they need to play their best players and keep Middleton and Giannis and Brook Lopez on the court, he can't help himself but go to an 11-man rotation because he's a fucking moron. But Bledsoe's 5'9" and 5'6". Even if he plays, I'll have a little bit of exposure to him. I don't trust Bledsoe in the playoffs when he's healthy. Now, it's really hard to trust him when he's not healthy. Dealing with this hamstring issue, we'll just have to see. It feels like a must-win for Milwaukee. Less so than normal. If this was a normal playoff scenario when they went down 2-0 at home, you'd be like, oh shit, now they got to go to Miami for game 3. Now they're still playing on the same court. So going down 2-0, as the home team is not the same as going down 2-0 as, this year. So there's some stuff there. And then some value guys. George Hill, yeah, I mean, he played 36 minutes. He was just dog shit on the court. Now you expect a little more intensity and expect him to play better. He's going to be a little bit lower owned because of that. Now it's a 2-game slate, and he's like the only value guy who's going to see those kinds of minutes. So his ownership will get bumped by that. But I don't mind George Hill, 4-4 and 4-3. Kendrick Nunn, DiVincenzo will see the court a little bit. Austin Rivers, again, those are like in a 2-game slate. You want, if you're playing 100, 150 lineups, you want to sprinkle that kind of stuff in, but you're not like racing for it's not. They're not safe plays. They're risk tolerance, crossing your fingers and hope they go off to differentiate yourself type plays. I mean, that's what it is. That's shooting guard James Harden, and we just talked about it. James Harden, how many game 7s, game 6s have we seen him come up small? It's not a shock if it happens again. I mean, I'm going to be all over it. I think everyone should be. He's got 80-point upside. I mean, even his bad games are 44s and 47s. And you saw tonight, it was a low-scoring night. I think my Draftkings was 271, which was like 3 points away from taking down what I was in and winning a shit ton of money. I still had a great, great, great night. Tonight was great for me. It was a great night. I hope all of you had a great night too. Jimmy Butler, absolutely. He's going to be the half-court guy. So both these teams are good defensive teams. And if they can get the other team into playing in the half court and not in transition, when the offense is stagnant on the offensive side, they're going to get the ball to Jimmy Butler. And when the Bucks have to play in the half court, even though Giannis is trying and he's working at it and you can tell he's really trying to force it in the half court, the guy they need to get the ball to is Chris Middleton. They're going to be guarding each other. They're both terrific defenders. They're both long, athletic, physical. But they both have upside. I love both Butler and Middleton. I'll take Middleton's price. He's 7.5 and 8.1. Butler's 9K and 8.3. But I like them both a lot. Of all these players above 7K, maybe besides Westbrook, the one who's going to be the lowest owned is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And he has been really good in this series. We saw a 43, a 54, and a 40. And we've also seen a 10 and a 20 in the last 2 games. So his ownership's going to be low. They don't ever play through him. It's always Chris Paul and then fucking Danilo. And then a little bit they go to Adams inside. And it's like, why isn't SGA fucking, like, he'll come down the court, he'll pass it to Chris Paul, and he'll stand in the corner. SGA's got upside. He's going to be low owned. Again, it's a risk tolerance thing. Don't get pissed at me when he scores a 10. But if you play him and he's low owned, which he's going to be, and he goes for 45, you can thank me later, much like we talked about for today's slate. So I'll have tournament exposure to him, of course. Schroeder, 6K and 6'4". He's playing a ton of minutes. Of course, Houston plays small. So, so is Oklahoma City. You're going to see Darius Bazley and Luguentz Dort get plenty of minutes. Tyler Hero played the minutes. He's going to come off the bench. He does have upside. It looked like they were really focusing on him. And when Butler and Dragic start to get it going like they did, they're not relying on Tyler Hero as much, but I'll still have some. He's got the upside. I don't love the price, 5.2 and 5.3. It's the same with Duncan Robinson. If his 3 falls, he can get you 30. Look at his last 5 games overall. 13, 30, 21, 12, 10. So you catch him on that 30, you're happy. But again, you got a low chance of that happening. But, it's a 2-game slate, and there's not a ton of value, so you got to have to do it. Some other guys down here in this 4K range you can sprinkle in. Iguodala, Pat Connaughton, Wesley fucking Matthews, like if you hate yourself. Luguentz Dort. Kyle Korver. I prefer Korver as like a 3-1 guy on DraftKings with that 3-point bonus. If he hits 4 or 5 threes, just gets hot. Or Milwaukee gets down and they need the shooting. But again, you're not going to see a ton of minutes, and it's not a big surprise if he gets you single digits. That's just how that works. And then there's no one else down there. Let's go to small forward. So Giannis, of course, I just explained it. Bam Adebayo is tailor-made to defend him. He can defend on the perimeter, on the inside. He can rebound. If Bam stays out of foul trouble, he gives Giannis trouble. He's done it all year long. He really has. Of course, you still want exposure to Giannis. I don't hate trying to get cute like I did the other day. It still worked out and played Giannis and Harden in the same lineup. Eric Gordon, 6K. He's like, damn it, 6K, but he's been playing well. And he's gonna get the minutes, and he's got a green light. He's gonna shoot a ton of threes. He's even a little cheaper on DraftKings at 5.8. This whole series, I mean, look at the last 5 games of this series. Everything over a 30, except the last game was a 28. So yeah, you can go to Eric Gordon. Danilo Gallinari, welcome back to the fucking series. He basically doubled his fantasy input the last game that he had the 2 previous games. Houston struggled defensively at this position all year, and I think it got easier for Gallinari because there was less Jeff Green on the court and more Russell Westbrook. Jeff Green's kind of the guy that loses his spot in that rotation because Houston plays so small. You'll oftentimes see Russell Westbrook, even if PJ Tucker's on the court, Westbrook is kind of the de facto center. It's interesting. It's a weird way that they play. So Westbrook hurts Jeff Green, but it helps Gallinari. I like Gallinari 5'8" and 6'1". Again, they're going to have some lemon booty tomorrow. I think I'm going to focus more on Miami, Milwaukee, even though those 2 teams are better defensively, just because it's going to be a bit looser of a game, in my opinion. Game 7, we saw it tonight with Denver and Utah. What a game that was. And I thought that 3, I couldn't believe that Monty Morris went down there and drove all the way. It's like, why aren't you pulling this back and running the clock out and getting fouled and securing this win? It was that was crazy. That was crazy. Daniel House, yeah, he'll still be on the court because he can space the floor, he can defend. He's 5K. I love that price for him. Jay Crowder, this is a position. This is where it's hard to play Giannis. Because even though Giannis has this massive upside and a must win, and you know what he could do, not all of the position, like look at point guard. When you're looking at the value guys at point guard, you're like, George Hill, Kendrick Nunn. It's kind of shitty. At small forward, you know, you've got guys, Gallinari, 5'8", 6'1", Daniel House, 5K, Jay Crowder, 4'7" and 4'6", going to see plenty of minutes. Darius Baisley, who's played over 20 minutes the last 2 games and put up a 28 and a 22 at 3'6" and 3'9". So you've got some lower, you know, Eric Gordon at 6K. You can find a couple of guys here where you can see the upside where they could smash value, whereas at some of the other positions at value, I mean, even shooting guard, you're like, God. So I think the optimal way to go is to pay down at small forward and pay up at the other positions where they don't have those kinds of options. But I can certainly rationalize, of course, playing Giannis because of his upside. So that's kind of the conundrum you're in. Me personally, I mean, I'm going to have exposure to Giannis. I'm just going to be under the field, just like I was on Jamal Murray tonight. I told you guys last night, Jamal Murray is too expensive. And he was. Giannis isn't too expensive. It's just that in terms of lineup construction, when you look around, there's not all those options 6K and below like there is. Like, would you rather play Jay Crowder and Daniel House or Andre Iguodala and Tyler Hero? That's kind of where you have to make that decision, if that makes sense. Let's go to power forwards. Bam Adebayo, yeah. You just hope he stays out of foul trouble. And he's done pretty good against Milwaukee. But you can see he did have 2 games against Milwaukee this year where he got into foul trouble. He put up a 26 and a 20. The other 3 games he stayed out of foul trouble, a 47, a 44, and a 45. Yeah, you're going to want exposure to him. Again, it's a big drop-off. Then you're down to Robert Covington, who's been on fire the last 2 games. Thank you, Robert Covington, for that. He's still 6'3" and 5'9". I love Robert Covington. In my mind, I know Westbrook and Gordon are on the court, but he's the second most important player for his defense. He's got to hit those threes. He kind of gets forgotten about. He can block shots, get steals, all sorts of ways he can score. I like Robert Covington. I talked about Jeff Green. Russell Westbrook being back and taking a more prominent role hurts Jeff Green. Now, I do think he'll be low owned if you want to take a shot on him. Maybe PJ Tucker's in foul trouble, or maybe D'Antoni's just had it with Westbrook's bullshit because he's such a horrible team player. Just god-awful. Just god-awful. I mean, he cost him the game. Let's not, mince words here. 5'1" and 4'9". I just don't think he sees the 30 minutes anymore now that Westbrook is back and starting to creep up towards 30 minutes. And then again, so this is kind of what I'm talking about here. So you kind of want to pay up a power forward because then you're down to Nerlens Noel. Unless there's a Steven Adams injury, probably not going to be very useful. You can maybe throw him in at 3-2 on DraftKings. Marvin Williams. I'll have a little exposure to Marvin Williams. I like seeing that he's been playing in the 20s, especially if Bledsoe's out. that opens up a spot in the rotation. They don't mind going to Williams. He can shoot the ball, he can defend, he can dribble. 3-8 and 3-3, and then there's nothing left. So it's hard to pay down at power forward because there's not many great options, where at small forward there is. So just something to keep an eye on, especially on the Fanduel side where you got to play 2 of each. On DraftKings, you can mix and match a little bit more, but I still think the strategy rings true. And then at center, you got 3 options. You got Lopez, Adams, Tucker. I like Lopez. I like him in this matchup. Adams, it's hit or miss because of the way Houston plays. PJ Tucker was, ultimate value, was still down there in the low 4Ks. He was on my cheat sheet every day. He's going to play a ton of minutes. Now he's 4-8 and 5-5, so it's a little more dicey. And then the only other player you can consider is Kelly Olynyk. Now, I know he got a 12 in that first game, but he only played 7 minutes. Now, if Bam Adebayo gets into foul trouble, Kelly Olynyk could be an interesting tournament option, so I'd definitely sprinkle in some Kelly Olynyk as well. So that's my early look at tomorrow's 2-game slate. Again, my player pool will adjust throughout the day. If you want to get the hit percentages too, that's the percentage of the time the players would hit 5 times value at that price on each site. My player pool for NBA, NHL, MLB, and of course I have an early-ish set one for NFL, and we'll be lineup optimizing and doing NFL lineups and all that stuff. Click that link in the video description below. You can try Draft Dashboard for 30 days for $1, and when you do, how you find my player pool, if you're a Draft Dashboard user and use that link, you'll simply click on the Watch Players tab over here on the left, or if you don't have your screen zoomed out like I do right now to get everything on the screen, this little menu bar here at the top, these 3 bars next to the name, you can click that, click on Watch Players. Then you'll see a blue box at the top that says Watch DFS Bachelor's Picks, as well as a timestamp from when I last updated it. So that lets you know if I've got, maybe they announce, hey, Jimmy Butler, flying to Georgia to, go to Magic City. Who knows? Whatever. And I haven't updated my player pool at that time. You'll know, oh, maybe he hasn't seen it or he hasn't had a chance to sit down and do it, blah, 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 blah. So that tells you that. Again, you can try that for 30 days for $1. You can use it in the lineup optimizer, the mass lineup generator, the late swap optimizer. If there's a late scratch, you can upload your lineups from Fanduel and DraftKings into here and then re-optimize cash game optimizers, etc. Cheat sheets, fantasy football league. Here, I'll show you that. The fantasy football league rankings right here. Season long draft kit. Let's go to NFL. I could show you that as well. All the tools are up for NFL. Here's the season-long fantasy football kit. Gives you their average draft position and their auction dollars, kind of ranks them. Tons of options there. So click that link, try it out. Don't forget to check out Overlay DFS. Come check this out. 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 Eastern tomorrow afternoon. I'll be live with Donnie Seymour over at SBR. You see that in the back there. Come check us out. Subscribe to that channel. Doing some great giveaways and a season-long competition where you can win $50,000 over there at Sportsbook Review. So be sure to check us out there. You can follow me on Twitter for news, updates, etc. May the fantasy gods be with you all. Cheers with my clear beer. I think that's fucking cool, dude. It looks like the Silver Mario and those little video games my son plays. I appreciate your support all so much. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment in the comment section. Thank you all again so much. Goodbye, folks.